our meat. The strong eat.
So here we are, episode 9 of The Terror Come and Get Me. This is the next to last episode, and I have to admit, after the few lackluster episodes we've been getting, I feel that this one is a very, very big improvement. But tell me all in the comments below, what did you think of this episode? If I'm wrong, or if you agree with me, I'd love to hear everyone's opinions on this. Just going to keep this review short and sweet, but really what I want to say is how now we've come to a point where we don't need any more exposition, even though it's a bit late in the game. This is the 9th episode out of a 10-episode season, but now we have all the information we need, and we have all our characters, which seem to be thinking they're going to live their regular lives again, with everyone from the camps now being released. Luz and Chester are trying to live a normal life as it is a few months later, and she is about to give birth to the baby that they are both going to have together, and just things seem to be that everything will go back to normal, but that's not the case. But now we don't need any more information to go on with that story after Yoko's now going to go after Chester and Luz's child. Pretty much so, that's what this whole episode is about Yoko going after our main characters just to get that other child so she can take him and Chester's other brother, which is now in the afterlife, and just have them both to herself. And the usual things happen. We see Yoko possessing one person to the other in order to get to them. It was pretty ingenious and kind of stealthy of Yoko to go inside of Luz, into the body, into the baby, and be inside the baby, and then go from the baby to her abuela, and just going from her to Luz. And it was just crazy how that all happened, but it was really decently made, and it was a good twist with that. And with the other thing I'm going to mention, which I think makes the bulk of this episode work so well, and that is this whole issue between Chester's aunt, Azoko, and his real mother, Yoko, and you find out the truth of what really happened between these two sisters when they were young. And as far as the season is concerned, we go back to the beginning in a way. Everything from seeing Terminal Island again, where our family sees that their home is gone, so they're homeless once again, and they do end up being with Chester and Luz again, and we are at the same bridge where Yoko had jumped off. Ahsoka is now up there, and that's where it begins, this whole mystery of what actually happened between her and her sister. And as for this twist between the two sisters of what really happened, it's something that I personally should have seen coming, but the way they do it, by not talking about it at all, because this whole thing between Yoko and this other man that we first saw, I think was back as far as the first episode, and this is what triggered her, I guess, insanity, her demise into becoming what she is now. It didn't really dawn upon me that Ahsoka was kind of responsible for it, and she confesses to her that Yoko was originally supposed to marry Henry, but she changed it all up so she can get Henry all to himself. And to make matters worse, she tells Yoko that she does not regret it and would do it again if she had the chance. But I did enjoy this just web of mystery and conspiracy of what was actually going on, and things are really starting to come to light. It's all starting to make a lot of sense. But overall, this episode really deals with the mothers, Ahsoka, Yoko, and even Luz, and how they're all fighting for something. And really, the one I'm for at this moment is Luz, because she's been through a lot, and it ends with her getting possessed by Yoko, and that's the last shot we see of her walking down the road with the baby. So this proves once again that Yoko was successful in getting the baby, and as far as I'm concerned, I think the last episode is next week's. I think it's a 10-episode run, so we will see what happens. I thought for sure that Chester would be the one to sacrifice himself in order to save everyone, but it looks like that may not be the case, so I really can't say what exactly is going to happen now, because we can either have another character sacrifice himself, maybe it could be Chester, or somehow they defeat Yoko, even though they did that a few episodes back, or tried to at least. But overall, I just really liked this episode in regards to the horror elements. I felt that they did a good job in incorporating that, and especially when they go to that warehouse when they're hiding from Yoko, even when they're at the house when the priest would always come to visit them, and they would have that little song they would sing, and even Yoko was able to find out what the song was they were singing. I'm like, this woman is something else. She's able to find out these little codes that they have. She's able to get inside of the baby. Like, this thing is, there's no way of escaping it. So it really is horrifying to be in a world with this type of spirit and not being able to escape it. So I thought they did a good job in having that type of paranoia and that fear of this creature, because I think that's something that has been missing in some of these episodes, and probably some of the reasons why a few people stopped watching this season. That was just my quick take on episode 9. I hope you enjoyed that. Stay tuned for next week when I review the last episode of this season and see where it goes from there, if it gets renewed or not. I would like to have another season, but it depends on what the story goes, because this is an anthology and they have to keep it interesting even though it's not going off the book of the first season. So we'll see. They haven't announced it yet, but comment below, tell me what you thought about this episode and what you're expecting for the finale. Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to consider subscribing to hear more tea reviews like this one, movies, and more, where anything is possible.